Hello.
What's going on, guys?
All right. So we are on episode 8 officially and had a last minute guest change this week. So I am excited, so excited to bring on Marie Berry because you have been in this with me from like day one of real estate investing, at least for you guys, right? Specifically, like I had been doing some real estate investing, but not so serious. And we met at my first big conference. So, all right, for everybody who doesn't know, I'm Marie Baginski, my co-host, Jake Remillard.
What's up?
Jake, what? And then today, our special guest is Marie Berry. So, Marie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your real estate journey so far?
Hi, everyone. Yes, pleasure to meet you both. Jake, especially to finally get to see your lovely face. Been hearing lots of good things about you. So I guess Marie and I started last March 2018. So now we are in April 2018. So we just had our 5th anniversary. I cannot believe it for us in real estate. And I'd like to tell her, I wanted to sort of come on and just explain to everybody that it's never too late. We started this journey, my husband retired and had gotten a nice sort of package along the way as well. There's a few years between us. And after about 4 or 5 months, I'm like, you just can't, golf and hang out, watch TV. So I said, let's go to a real estate seminar, which is how we started. So a lot of it was that it was based on financial information. I was already, we both had corporate backgrounds. I was in sales and marketing, but I was with a financial firm towards the end, and he was with Xerox and did a lot of the commercial work, getting leasing office space. So we had, basic familiarity. He's handy around the house, and I had always had an eye for, home design. I love going to home shows. So that led us to real estate, and we learned about rehabbing, buy and hold. And we had some money to private lend, which was another way to do some passive income. And the goal was to eventually find something that would allow us to do some private lending or collect some mailbox money, as they like to call it. So that took us a little longer to get there. But we decided to opt for rehabbing. You could get some bigger chunks in the active. We set ourselves up with an LLC, 2 LLCs, one for active income, one for passive income. Yeah. And in doing so, through the workshops that we attended, we were part of a national network, which really built our foundation, establishing an LLC, feeling protected, knowing that we had other people to speak to. In that first year made a big difference. And connecting with someone like Marie, my buddy here was in Arizona. I'm in Connecticut, but we were on weekly calls. We probably were speaking twice a day at one point. And it just sort of
Jake, just to give you an idea, I have to pause right there. So just to give you an idea, I'm still working as an engineer, right?
Yes.
Part-time at this point, but every single day on my commute to and from the office, I would just call Marie. So for like the 30-minute, 40-minute commute, we would just be on the phone and it'd be like, okay, what are you doing? What are you learning? What did you just read? Which video did you watch? What?
Can I ask you this? Can I ask you that? What do you think?
Right. And it was so helpful.
And it just helped having someone else to motivate you. For us, there's a little bit of age difference, but I felt the motivation. I loved the youth and the energy and the invincibility that she felt. I was always somewhat of a risk taker myself, but I loved it. Helped me say, okay, we can do this together. And it was fun. It was a great way to get started. And I think I'd always had a dream of having our own business, and the idea that I could start my own business with my husband. I felt I had been in the corporate world, seen businesses come and go. I'd seen a lot of businesses, as we've seen in the last 5 years, start closing their doors. And again, it's what they say, feeling like you're in charge of your own destiny. So it made a big difference. It was fun and it was interesting. And I think that the numbers don't lie was really what we learned. So we basically both had a background in business. She was more software engineering. I was more sales, marketing, social. But we knew that, numbers had to count. Accountability mattered. We had to be accountable to people, both our contractors and lenders, if we were going to take someone else's money. That was a big deal. And something I think we learned really, I just heard of some stories this week that blew my mind away. People invested for the first time in 2 projects and both times lost money. And I'm shocked. I'm like, I was just so conscious about anybody that borrowed that there was always a cushion in our analyzers, in our formulas, and being sure that they were paid first. And honoring, maintaining our integrity and your reputation. it's a national industry, but it's a small industry. People still, it's word of mouth, and your name and reputation goes a long way. And I think that's what I've come to learn over the years, that I've met people now that said, oh, I'm so-and-so. I go, I've heard your name before. I was in another circle. Right. So now that everybody's groups start networking, growing, the special coaching programs start, the events start, and your name starts, you start attending different places and you get word of mouth. You get to meet a lot of people. But there's a lot of people out there to help you. Unfortunately, there are some people that still try to do it on a napkin. It doesn't always work out as
Yeah.
And we all got started through the same program too. So I definitely agree that, that national network, it kind of just brings you right in and you're like, okay, I can do this, and
a little bit of a cushion. It felt like a little bit of a, security blanket.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes people, I don't know if you guys experience this, like kind of, there's like this negative connotation with it. Did you guys experience that when you joined from like maybe local, smaller communities?
Yeah,
Marie had a great connection in Arizona. They had an unbelievable, I don't know what you would call it, more forthright, growing community. The Arizona market was booming. I was a more conservative market. I'm in the Northeast, and I don't know how you feel. I think you're in North Carolina.
Yeah, correct.
Or South Carolina. So the communities vary. So I think she had that benefit, and I had a big draw to Arizona. Mm-hmm. I'm doing some now in Florida, and Florida has that big youthful draw hot market, and you can feel the people there. And I've connected with some younger investors or contractors that are willing to, okay, I'll go look at the property. I can get the crews, but I just can't get the money. And having my corporate background help, I was always able to get the money for our projects. Nice. And the private lending. So getting private money was easier for me because I could explain it as a big picture, but I didn't want us chasing contractors for the rest of our lives. So we were a little slower doing that. Then we did some buy and holds, and now we're doing some more private lending. So that's where we are.
Yeah. So Marie, if you go back to when you started, right? Because you were like, I remember us both talking about like multifamily. We know we want to get into multifamily. We want rentals. We want passive income, right? And at the time, we were learning a lot about that fix and flip, right? Rehab, renovation. And we both did that, right? So just tell us a little bit about what was your experience on your fix and flips? Would you change anything? Would you just kind of ignore that and go right into more of the private lending and multifamily that you're looking at now?
I believe that what real estate provided us and the big network that we had was that we learned that there were so many strategies. And I think that's the motivational part. If you don't like one, you go into another. There's so many areas you can get into. To me, that's probably the single biggest benefit, is that you didn't have to put yourself in a box. You could do 5 strategies. You could pick one and just go after that, or you could do all 5 at once. It was up to you and what you felt you could handle. But I felt like also learning the rehab, I learned what the real estate, it was another foundational step. What it was to find the contractors, to communicate, to get the money, to track the program, to get the permitting, to make sure, to put it on the market, to sell it on your own or to sell through a realtor. All the season, the seasonality of it, and then the markets, the different markets around the country. So there were so many aspects of that now we're just on our 7th flip, I think now, that we hesitantly got into, but one of our biggest. So we'll be close to $1 million on this one when it sells. We were stayed in the $300,000 to $500,000 range at first 4 years ago. We bought 2 during the pandemic, made a ton of money in equity, so we kept them. And then we went back and said, okay, there's an opportunity here for this house that I watched, but I knew it was a great location, great spot. Hesitant, like, oh, the market's shifting, what's happening? Everyone's talking negative. But I also knew the truth was there was not enough inventory, and there's not enough houses out there for everyone. So I keep, I'm a big believer in researching and doing the data, listening to the data and the current trends in the marketplaces. So I could see that there wasn't enough out there. And I was very conservative in what it would sell for, but it looks like I'm going to probably add another 100,000 to the price tag, because not that we'll get 100,000 in return, but we put a little extra money into it, but it allows us a little bit bigger margin than we thought initially. And I was willing to go really low because I was getting nervous 4 months ago when inflation started going up and everybody, went crazy again. Like it was another pandemic era. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And during pandemic, same thing. Everyone stopped, cold turkey. we bought 2 houses really inexpensive and they blew up. So
Yeah.
it's timing. You can't count on that, but you got to believe that you're making money when you buy it. So I think that's the lesson I learned there.
Yeah.
You have to make money up front and make sure you're getting a good deal up front.
Yeah. So looking back, do you think what's one of the biggest mistakes you've made so far?
Probably not. I think what I've learned now, JV, I've been able to get into 3 deals in the last 4 months as a joint venture.
Okay.
People who had the deal and had the contract, had the contractors, they're ready to go, and just responding quicker. And I think what I've been hearing and listening, I've been attending a lot of virtual seminars in the last 2 months. We all know time is money.
Yeah.
But also the time is now, that this is going to be 2023 is a big pivotal year. But lastly, that you have to move, currency, money is currency, and you got to keep moving in one direction or another. But by not doing anything, you're not going to make, you're going to miss opportunities. Not that you have to get over your head, but you've got to be able to make a move. And I jumped in on 2 JV deals in January. I think I'm crazy, but my gut tells me it's a good deal. There's a big margin there. Why not try it for 25% of the portion? I'm going to get equity for finding money on top of that. So I'm getting a double return on it by just showing up with a little money up for the deal. And it's leading to 2 more projects down the road if we want come June. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So would you have started JVing sooner?
Correct. I think collaboration, I think you and I always wanted to collaborate. I've always felt that way. And many people wanted to do it on their own. And we're very, what's the word called? Self-contained. They just didn't want to share information as easily.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't want to share. They didn't want to, afraid to share their deals, afraid to share their numbers, afraid to share their contractors. It's always been that, reserve for you. Don't give it away. And the truth is, I think that there's an abundance out there, and it's an abundance mindset. It's really that shift in mindset and believing that you can do more with more people. And if you find the right partners and the right people, it's going to get you there faster and keep you up. It's a lot to take it all on yourself, on your mind. And when you have a bad day, if you don't have someone to talk to, those days can be long.
So I think finding the right partner too is key, right?
And you don't have to partner with everyone, but making sure the deal makes sense. So this is separate, like it's a JV where it's just a JV on the deal. There's no legal contract. You don't have to go into an LLC with someone. I know you did that once. You don't have to go that far. It's just saying on this deal, we agreed at 25, 50, 60% equity. It doesn't matter what it is or what the terms are, but it's just for that time frame. And then you go on and you keep your own company and your own company name. So I think just things that you don't learn and you don't know until you're in front of it. You don't know what you don't know. And there's so much to know.
That's probably one of my favorite quotes right now because I feel like I'm surrounded by it all the time. But luckily, I've been embraced by people that have had that abundance mindset. So nail on the head there. It's been awesome.
Hard in the beginning. And how do you feel now, Jake? What's made your shift?
Honestly, I think the 2 of the biggest things are like perseverance and definitely collaboration. So I'm right there with you. We actually got into our first flip with a JV structure, just like you're describing now. It really opened up doors that weren't available to us. It was, like you said, it wasn't a new LLC or anything. It was just a partnership there that grew into a great relationship with that individual. And then much like you and Marie, I got started. I met Marie at one of my first big events. I tell everybody, absolutely swindled me in a game of pool. She taught me. I was this young kid.
I didn't know she sang in the room. She sang in the room with me.
Yeah.
So I sang in the room for her, but I hustled him in a game of pool.
You killed him at pool.
Swindled. Yeah.
Swindled.
Took advantage of me. Anyway, and then we actually got on calls. It was like every Friday after that. And I did my very first real estate deal with Marie. We wholesaled her a property here, and she was like, all right, we're going to get on every Friday. And then, it was like I was bouncing stuff off her. She was like running stuff by me. And then through that collaboration led to evaluating the partnerships and then Alora Homes and all these other things. So collaboration and perseverance. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. So similarly, yeah, to you guys, I'm now involved with a group that, a couple guys are in Florida and they just have a lot of hustle in them. And I love the energy. And they don't have the corporate background, but they understand it. They're very quick-minded, quick-witted.
Mhm.
So I don't need that. I need to know, we communicate really, really well, very quickly. And the generosity that comes from behind that, the appreciation on both parts. They're so grateful that I'm even able to be there and bring them money or talk, no, you present, no, you do that. I'm like, fine, but you guys have the deal, and they're connecting with old school people in the community and finding these unbelievable deals. And one of the JV deals is an older building near a beach in Florida. And it's one of the last ones on the block, but it was an old timer who didn't want someone he met at a bar.
Yeah.
And getting it at rock bottom price. They're going to turn it into a triplex or fourplex, and then eventually make it into a small boutique once they get the whole block together. But they have, through word of mouth, they've connected and built up on, and it's just, I believe in that.
Is this in the Tampa area, Marie? Yeah. Clearwater. Yeah. So I'm super excited. Yeah, no, I'm super excited for you too, because I know that, they're looking at some of these small multifamily deals, and that was a big, big goal of yours, right? A goal of ours when we started. And it's like, we know the potential there, right? And it's like, we were, I don't want to say like hesitant to like get our feet in the water, but it was like, just residential real estate seems so much more attainable than like
it was something we could touch and feel, and there was something and I think that's still the case. It's getting in front of the right people at the right time. Yeah. And all it takes is that either one connection or that one deal that opens the door. Yeah. And this is an opportunity where this is happening. And I do think that there's a chance here for them to do like a 36 unit building, but then they have a lot available. A lot next door or down the street. They're going to make into, they already have the drawings that they bought from this guy for 156 unit multi-plex family. Yeah. So it's a 3-year project. Wow. So, but that's like phase 2 or 3, but it's just like the possibilities are there. And I was like, well, let me just walk before I run. Right. And it's like something maybe you guys can get involved with too later on phase 2 or 3.
Well, and I love that because I feel like in 10 years, if I had you on this podcast again, not even 5 years from now, if I have you on this podcast again and said, what was your biggest mistake? I think your response is going to be, dang it, I wish I jumped into multifamily sooner. Right? Like we had Brian Fine on, and Brian, like one of his biggest mistakes was he's like, I spent so many years as a fix and flip investor, and I wish I got into the buy and hold sooner. Right? Correct. Again, it's like that shift in mindset when you're just starting out and you're like, oh, I could get a $50,000 check, or I can get $200 a month. Why would I get the $200 a month? I want the $50,000 check. Right. And then you understand, he talked about
having it makes sense because you have to have those yes, and having that. And I'm still in that where we now have 3 buy and holds, but it's like now, I'm sort of waiting. Do I cash those in for one bigger deal? So all your properties in one place. Right. Because I don't want to be chasing around the properties. But what were you going to say, Jake?
Well, I was just going to say that, I think Brian hit he was very right about that. Looking forward, I want to be accruing more rental properties, but from the perspective of kind of just getting into the fix and flip game and kind of starting to reap the benefits of that, I think it is a pivotal first step for some people. Like if you're not coming into this industry with, sitting on enough capital or experience or a very, gracious partner or something.
Connectedness, right? You have to be connected in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. The cushion that you can create from getting a couple flips under your belt to be able to start working on those passive income properties is almost necessary.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that process. So someone else can't swindle you. If you JV with somebody going, what it took to talk to the contractor or to get the deal done or do the contract, or that looking over the paperwork that you can look over their shoulder and say, yeah, I sign off on this too. You don't want to be I don't like being completely blind and giving up all my control. And I think that's a big part of it. So I do like the fact that we were able to walk through all the steps. I'm ready to give away a lot of the steps and let someone else do them, but I'm glad I know what they are.
You know what they are, and also,
Yeah,
like,
people
you get to see the flaws in somebody else's
correct. You don't
numbers, or, you know,
the
this
shortcuts
is
they may
gonna
be
be a
taking that
2-month
you're thinking
project, and you're like,
aren't worth taking.
"No, that's
Yeah.
not gonna be a 2-month
You don't
project."
want someone to not
Somebody
put
is
up
fixing
the support beam, or you want their missing, electrical be a little,
Yeah, we don't need permits.
scrappy, then you can get into trouble, and that's like down the road, and I don't want to deal with that later on either. And
Yeah.
someone knocking on my door 5 years from now, I'm too old for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
So
I
I think
love
that's
that.
a big part of it. But yes, I would wish that I'd collaborated sooner, because I think there's so much to learn in collaboration. But all of that is who you find along the way.
Yeah.
But that's probably my biggest mistake, if anything. But it's all good.
You know, and what I love about you, Marie, is, like, you're so good at building relationships. Like, you really love to connect with people, right? Like, when every event that you're at, you're like very intentional, even with, like, who you have lunch with and who you talk to, and you're like, "Oh no, this, like, I can tell this person is going to be a great connection. I need to know this person," right? And
Well,
make
I think
really
it's saying
solid
more now than
connections.
ever. Your network is your net worth. And I
Mhm.
think that's becoming more true than ever, because your network and your net worth can go hand in hand, in that you can help each other out. You can help each other. And I find that that's been able to help a lot of people grow, especially on a higher level than us, right? The ones
Mhm.
who really made their millions or their billions. The big people out there are working with a very high network, and which has turned into net worth. And I just think that connecting, and they also say real estate is about relationships. It's not a solo sport.
Yeah.
So having the relationships and people you trust, I like to get around early if I want to know if I can really trust that person, because before I can take off with them, I really have to have a strong gut feeling. And I have guided my gut with that. And I guess I didn't go too far off with you. First day we met.
Oh, thanks. All right. So before we wrap up here, Jake, do you have any questions for Marie?
No, honestly, it was awesome to learn a little bit more about you and kind of hear what your mistake was. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Um,
I just so happy for you guys.
Thank you. And then for you, Marie, if anybody is watching and they want to kind of get in touch with you, or, know kind of more what you're doing right now with raising capital, how can they get in touch with you?
So right now you can go. I'm in the process of setting up a tab for investing on our website, but it's beyondhomeproperties.com. My social media is primarily the Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook, but Instagram more, or I'm doing a little bit of more reels, and that's Marie Berry 5 at on Instagram, IG at Marie Berry 5. I just changed it from M Berry because I was told people want to find you and know who they're working with. They want to
Right.
know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm trying to process that.
I love it. And you have a beautiful first name, so let everyone know what that
Exactly.
is.
Can't
All
go
right.
as Marie B anymore. I got to go as Marie Berry. Or it might be Marie Baginski, which I
I was
wouldn't mind.
wondering if we were going to make it through the whole podcast without a joke about the name, but right at the end, we squeaked it
Right
in.
at the end, we
We're there.
got
Yeah.
it.
MB squared came up early.
Yes. All right. Well, we're
So
going to
guys,
wrap up here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you,
thanks
Marie.
for having me.
Yeah.
Have a great day and good luck with everything. I'm really happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take
You
care.
as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.